There now. See you
We're
later.
live. We are
Hello,
live.
we're live. Just saying good night to my girl there.
Good night, Willow.
There you go. You say good night.
Hope she's taken the makeup off.
She's not wearing any. School day, isn't it? Not allowed to make up for school days. Right, good evening, everybody, and welcome to Simply Spooky. Oh, I sounded like I didn't want to do that then, didn't I? I had to build myself up to that. Honestly, that's not the case.
It's Simply
we love
Spooky
doing this.
on the Things Network.
On the Things Network, indeed. Glad you reminded me of that. And it's your host, Vivian, and your co-host, Dan, and we are here to talk about all things spooky. Now, we had a chat ourselves over the week between us, or the weekend, last week. I can't remember now.
Every day.
Running to one. But we had a chat between us, and we were talking about, well, what can we talk about this week? What subjects should we broach? And we decided to talk about heritage ghosts. So maybe famous ghosts, infamous ghosts, ghosts of certain people, famous people, and also the buildings that they're found in. Hi, everybody. Hi, Jeremy. And the properties that they're actually found inhabiting. So, and maybe the reasons and rhymes behind why they're there. Who knows? But we're hoping to discover that and maybe have a chat and come to some conclusions throughout the actual program. So, throughout the show. So, what do you reckon, Viv? How did your week go? So, how's your week going so far?
Oh. Well, I made myself sick on chocolate.
That's not good.
I know. My son works for Lindt.
That's not good. I mean, it's good that he works for Lindt. Not good that he gives you chocolates. Not that many anyway. Not as many as he has been giving.
I'm diabetic and so no more Lindt chocolate. I think I've learned my lesson.
No more chocolate, full stop, I think. At least in moderation. In moderation, like everything.
So I've had a good sleep this afternoon. Good. Because I felt ill, but I'm still a little bit
more human.
I'm feeling a bit woozy, but I'm okay. I'm all right.
Hi, Chris.
Chocolate and champagne.
Chocolate and champagne, yes. What a decadent afternoon on a Monday or Tuesday afternoon that would have been, wouldn't it?
So I've been very, very busy working within the paranormal, doing some stuff behind the scenes, let's say. You know what I've been doing, Dan, but I needed a break from that as well because it started getting a bit too much because there's a lot of computer work.
Well, that's probably what's strange with Viv. It's a lot of concentration, a lot of work. Hi, you Jamie. Hope you're good, buddy. So we're talking about heritage ghosts, aren't we? We're talking about properties that are haunted and famous properties we may have investigated or infamous properties we may have investigated.
Talking of that, I have one straight off the bat. So this particular ghost is a rather famous one and also involves a couple of famous buildings. One of the buildings this ghost is supposed to haunt is the Tower of London. The other one is Hever Castle. And I think
I know you're on about.
She's even been seen, I think, at Bolling Hall. So she's actually in 3 different places. How can that be? Let's discuss it. Why is she in these 3 places? And why is she haunting? Full stop.
It's a very good evaluation of the situation. Hi, you Chantal. It does make me wonder if some of the visions that people are seeing are actually they're embedded into the coding of the property. So they're kind of stone tape theory, the sort of residential memories, if you were, of the spirits. Or they could all be. Particularly if they follow the same pattern on every haunting. They seem to do the same thing, maybe at the same time, or at least if the weather's in conjunction. If it's working properly, and it could be that, or it could be that they're. It's a mixture. It's very odd. But you hear that a lot, don't you? I mean, for example, Dick Turpin, who was a particularly infamous highwayman over here in the 17th century, he's purportedly seen at many places. And I mean, round here where I live was a big stomping ground of his, and he used to have a butcher's shop in Waltham Abbey, which is a few miles up the road from me. And he's seen haunting or he's apparitions seen in many places. But then is that with people with infamous ghosts and famous ghosts? I wonder if a lot of it's just folklore and myth, or they're mistaking what they're seeing.
I don't know, because I believe, like as you say, some of them are like residual hauntings, and out of these hauntings, one of them has to be real. I mean, think about
Well,
it.
well, not always.
I'm thinking about, like, what's her face, Anne Boleyn. She was actually beheaded at the Tower of London. So is that more like the actual beheading itself, that scenario blasted into the fabric of buildings?
That's
so
gallery, isn't it? I think.
Yeah, so you're getting that residual sticky replay, and so she's being seen there. Something nice or horrible must have happened at Bolling, but I know that Haver was her home. It was her home where she grew up. It's where she was happy. The Boleyn family owned it. So is that where the real haunting is happening? Because that reminds her of happier days and home. So it's why she's ancient old now, that particular ghost, isn't it?
Yeah.
So and it's still happening today. Like with the highwayman. Is it more than one highwayman?
Well, that's
they're
the
confusing.
thing. That's the thing with historic figures, isn't it? We see paintings of them, but it doesn't necessarily. A lot of them aren't really a very good representation of them. Prime example is like William Shakespeare. Nobody really knows what he looked like because there wasn't any image painted of him at the time. So all of these drawings and paintings that we're seeing of him is just conjecture, or it's sort of artist interpretation.
Yeah.
So nobody really knows. If you're seeing the spirit, I mean, how could you tell? As you say, with Dick Turpin, lots of people dressed the way he did in the 17th century. Lots of people. And how would you know they were a highwayman? How would you know they were a highwayman spirit? You wouldn't know, would you?
That's how I used to get around, wasn't it? On a horse, and you'd wear your cloak, and unless you was a woman, of course.
Yeah, exactly. And that was just general rigueur, wasn't it? So, or de rigueur, as it were. So, yeah, I don't see how people can. I mean, I don't know. It's very odd, isn't it? I do wonder if a lot of it's sort of myth, that it's built up around myth and legend, and that type of thing. But yeah, the haunting. Hi, Charles.
Hi, Charles, in Texas. I bet it's nice and warm there.
Oh, but it's lovely and warm in Texas.
Oh, it's been freezing
here. It's boiling in Texas, to be honest. But
I'd love to go. I wonder if there's some old buildings and hauntings that happen in Texas. I know that Texas. Oh, I'm going off radar a little bit here, and it's a bit gory what I'm going to say, but Texas was the only state in America that had, with their prisoners that they put on death row. Texas was the only state that had death by firing squad.
Right.
So I wonder if they have any hauntings that are more, do you know what I mean? Like in any old jails, or maybe Charles will tell us, who knows?
They probably have. I can't see why. I mean, I'm guessing globally there will be hauntings. But, historically, I mean, there's lots and lots of historical figures that are purportedly haunting properties and sort of venues and areas over here. Oh, wow.
Snowing. Ooh.
Okay.
No, we can keep. I don't like snow. You can keep that.
Yeah, you can keep that, Charles.
I like a little dusting. Like when I go visit William, there's a little dusting. I've not seen real snow.
That's nice.
But he gets proper snow out there, so no,
well, exactly. I don't know. I mean, as I say, they're purportedly haunting all over.
Shout out to Deborah. Shout out to New York as well. They get big snow over there.
Excellent. They do. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if you've told it on here before, Viv, but you've got a story of a historic ghost that you believe you got an EVP from, haven't you?
Oh, yes.
Tell us about that one. That's a very interesting subject.
I'm one of the few teams that has investigated the Tower of London. They just don't let paranormal teams in. I'm not going to tell you too much of how, why, when, where, but I did. I investigated the Tower of London, and while I was there, I managed to get an EVP from Guy Fawkes. Guy Fawkes, for those that don't know, was one of the guys that was involved in the plot to blow up the Houses of Parliament. And that would have been, what, 18th century, 16th century?
That would have been 17th century, yeah. Oh, yeah, 17th century.
And
16th maybe.
He was captured and he was taken into the Tower to be tortured, basically. Hi, Bill.
Hi, you wild Bill.
So he was tortured because they wanted information on the rest of the gang. And the torture was quite brutal, actually. They, in the history books, the TV programs and all the history programs that you see do not go into how brutal that torture was. And I happened to be at the right place at the right time. And I called out to him because it was that time of year when he would have been at the Tower. And I asked him to just let me know that he was there. And he'd come back with a classic A-class EVP. They're hurting my hands. They're hurting my hands is quite synonymous with what they did with not just the thumb crusher and finger crushers, but with the signature. They had to physically put the quill between his fingers and sign it with a cross, his confession with a cross. But yeah, I was quite proud of that EVP. And when the yeoman warders heard it, they were quite excited because they have to stay there on the grounds of the Tower of London, and they see and get reports of many things amongst themselves, and sometimes even the yeoman warders are too scared to actually do their patrol. So they have to patrol. Just, they are military personnel after all. And some of them have been known to have stood down and not carried out their duty and subsequently moved on because they were too scared there. But this particular yeoman warden that I was with was very excited when he actually heard it being played back to him. So that was quite good.
Excellent.
I think we should go on the trail of Guy Fawkes, Dan, and see what we get.
That would be good, wouldn't it? That would be good. Oh, you got your anonymous mask from November the 5th. So yeah, I mean, I've never come across anything. I mean, historical, yeah, but I've never come across any famous or particularly infamous people. Not that I know of. I mean, I've just had the normal stuff happen. But it'd be interesting to come across something like that. It'd be it'd be fantastic, wouldn't it, if you could come across evidence like that? If you could make contact with somebody from, a famous figure from a different period.
I've also, Dan, but it depends how you view them to be famous, because in November time, I didn't do it this November, but he did come to my mind a lot. I used to get a lot of very personal information on a Ouija board because of the famous person's mother that I used to know and go around and have tea with. So, yeah, it depends. One, if you're lucky. Two, I think even if they did come across and they were genuine, and these people, let's say they tried to communicate with you on a Ouija board, would you dismiss it straight away and say, oh, it's just like wishful thinking and,
I've never had any, even on a Ouija board, I've not had much in the way of activity on a Ouija board. But I guess if it happened, see, there are lots of spirits out there that are cunning.
Yeah.
And that, are very cagey and sneaky and not necessarily truth tellers. So
yeah.
it's what do you believe? I think you said that, but you said that before, didn't you, Barry? Yeah, Barry Insight, you said that before.
That's William, by the way.
Oh, William, there you go. So what do you I mean, I don't know. Who knows?
There's like theatre ghosts. So we have a lot of old theatres here. I mean, some are really old, aren't they, Dan? Some go way back. But you have like famous people that have appeared at these theatres. So what if one of them come up on a spirit box and told you, I don't know, I am the ghost of, I don't know, Charlie Chaplin? Would you believe it? Even if that was genuine? And
No, because he
it's
never
just...
talked.
All right, then Laurel and Hardy, one of the skinny
Would I
one.
believe if the ghost was
Yeah.
synonymous with a particular building, and I had no history of it. I didn't really know who performed there, and then somebody came through with Charlie Chaplin. I wouldn't dismiss it straight away. Or a famous, musical figure, what have you. I wouldn't dismiss it straight away. I'd need to check first with the people that worked there to see if it's a possible that he performed there, or if he had any connections with it. But I wouldn't dismiss that. I think I'd go along with that, because chances are those are the type of people you're going to get in the theatre, aren't they? You're going they're never going to leave the theatre. But yeah, it's. I mean,
see,
it's like anything, isn't it?
I would sort of say, no way have I got that person, and then sort of go off and check, and then bugger, oh shit, I have got this person. I should have gone back and had that conversation with them,
Yeah, but whilst you're having that conversation with them, it's your opportunity to ask them private questions, isn't it? And see if you can, just tweeze some information out that's not really. It's out there, but not out there completely in the like the access in the domain. But
sometimes, Dan, you find these, especially in the older buildings. I mean, as you know, me and you've driven around a place in Norfolk quite a lot, and I used to see this building that used to stick out like a sore thumb in Downham Market.
Downham Market.
Downham Market. So in Downham Market, this building used to stick out with like a sore thumb, because they've actually painted it to look a certain way. But it is actually, now it's an old house, but now it's a hotel. And so that gave me the first draw, and it drew me to this particular old building. Hi, Paranormal Wales.
Hi, Paranormal Wales.
We got to say, Croeso I Cymru. Welcome to Wales. That's all I know. That's all I know in Welsh. So, so I was drawn to this building, got the team in, did an investigation. Lovely building, really beautiful. Not massive, but nice. We had a good investigation, and through going through all the analysis, doing a bit of research, that the analysis took us down this research rabbit hole. We found that now the Americans would love this, what I'm going to tell you. It took us to the Titanic. And what it was, this house had a couple, well-to-do couple living there, and they had a son, and he got of an age where the father said to the son, you need to go and find, your way in life and go and make a living. So he decided to join the crew of HMS Titanic as ship's bosun. And he subsequently, we know what happened to the Titanic, but as his story goes, in the film Titanic, when the American woman shouts, there's plenty of room on this boat. I think she was married to a Texan, actually. Let's go back and pull some more in. There's plenty of room. So they went back and they plucked him from the sea. And where he was sitting there and shivering so much, she put her fur coat around him and started rubbing him and, bringing him back more to life. And because of that American lady, this boy lived. He came back to Downham Market, and he... I'm
not going there.
Yeah, he worked then with his... he lived a good life with his... got married, had children himself, but... He went back to his hometown of Downham Market. And all of that is because of a ghost hunt, because I was drawn to a building. He was able to tell his story and you know, they picked it up in the films. There is records of that. It actually did happen. It's not just a thing that happened in the films. So
No, it's interesting. You can glean some very good information from spirit
yeah.
if they're willing to communicate
you know,
to a certain degree.
When that sort of thing happens, though, Dan, it blows me away, because I was just drawn to an old building, and you know, and then the Titanic thing came in. Just absolutely amazing.
That is interesting. But big robot with bad driver. Yeah, things like that are interesting. I mean, a couple of not famous, but I mean, I've investigated buildings where they've had a Molly Brown. I've investigated buildings where they've had soldiers. One was where there's a Cavalier. We had activity in there. Not sure if it was down to him or not. It could have been Lord Fairfax, because he was the building that we were investigating. He was using as a headquarters, and that was where he was working the you know, he's working take it easy. Yeah, he was using that as his base. So he was using that to map out how he's going to, you know, approach these battles and what have you.
Yeah.
And they said that there's a Cavalier spirit there. Whether it's him, I don't know. But we did have activity there, and yeah, it seemed to follow a pattern of the sort of stuff that would have happened when he was there, like people have seen him doing, or seen his spirit doing. But I don't know. I mean, it's interesting. Yeah, very careful, Charles.
The thing is, Dan, I mean, I've been to, and it's happened to me once. This is, in all my years, it's happened to me once, and I have not got an explanation for it. So these old buildings that we have over here, I went to an old fort, built around Napoleon time.
Yeah.
And it's I don't think it's ever seen action. It was built just to guard the portway, the estuary for the Thames. And I experienced a time slip. So
yes,
I got there early, and with 4 members of my team, because we did a team share. And with 4 members of my team, we decided to have a quick run around, just get find our bearings, and come back, have a quick cup of tea with the other team before the other team members arrived. And it doesn't take that long to walk around the fort, really. And I thought, they said, well, how long are you going to be? Going to be no more than half an hour. Just walk, just have a quick look so we know what's what and where we can go and what we can do. Get the
lay of the land.
Yeah, we were gone 2.5 hours.
And did it feel like 2.5 hours though?
No.
It felt like it was at half an hour that you'd
allocated. It felt that we were about 40 minutes at the top.
So what did you experience any sort of change in climate or atmosphere or nothing?
No, we were just looking at some of the exhibits that they've got. At one point we thought it went dark, really, you know, when a room goes really dark for no reason.
Yeah.
We experienced that, but we come out of that room and it just seemed like normal. Then after that, we went into the next room. But the time slip itself lasted, well, I don't know how long it lasted, but we were gone for 2.5 hours. And even our clocks, our watches, all stopped.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's quite well known for a time slip, that building that you're on about, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's quite renowned. I think quite a few people have experienced stuff like time slips there over the years, haven't they?
Yeah, but you have to be careful with time slips, though, Dan. I mean, if they're happening in buildings in and around England, don't you have to be careful that you don't find yourself in a precarious situation?
I don't know. People seem to come out of them, but then do people step into them? They never. I don't know. Do they? I have no idea. But then surely that would be recorded in history somewhere, wouldn't it?
Would you see people in period dress and things like that, or doing something,
Well,
or a particular time? Because if that
it's
happens, that's a bit worrying. I mean,
it's
I'm lucky
weird
I
you
had
say
four
that,
people. Go
because
on.
I did an investigation in a pub. The pub was 15th century. So this goes back to the 1400s, this public house. And two people had experienced time slips in there, and it was a very, very odd pub. But as soon as you walked in there, it just felt, the atmosphere changed. It was quite thick and heavy, and it felt a little bit, it was like you were being closeted. It wasn't very nice.
Right, yeah.
And one of the experiences, we had experiences there, not time slips, but one woman had experienced. Well, first of all, this woman had gone on a Saturday afternoon. She'd walked into the pub. She'd opened the door. Now this was a black lady.
Mm-hmm.
So as she walked in, she opened the door, and she saw men all sitting around drinking all over the pub, but a lot of them had wigs on, white wigs.
Right.
As did the barman or landlord, barman, whatever they and they stopped when she opened the door, and they all looked over and pointed and laughed at her. So she closed the door, started to panic. I think it was her husband went to have a look to see what was going on. That it was back to normal.
Oh.
And then there was a guy it was a New Year's Eve, so he was going out with his friends, and they were celebrating New Year's Eve, and they'd gone to this pub, and they'd had tickets, but his friends had been drinking before. He'd taken them around, and he was a designated driver, so he didn't drink that evening. And his friends went into the pub, and he followed in after them, but his friends were gone. He couldn't see them in the pub, and they'd literally just walked in front of him. And again, he saw something from the 17th century. He saw the powdered wigs.
Yeah.
He saw the riding boots and that paraphernalia. And it's I don't know if that they interacted with him, but the black lady they interacted with. And
now that's worrying, because
terrified.
that poor lady. I mean, when you think about it, the British are responsible for a lot of things, and we were prevalent in world slavery.
We stopped it though.
We did stop it, but we were the
stopped
ones that were shipping them here, there, and everywhere. So that poor black lady had most probably walked in there, and they were most probably thinking, well, who does that slave belong to, and how has she got? That's why they were laughing. So, oh bless her.
It was almost like they caught her, like they'd done it intentionally. And I mean, whether she stepped back in time or whether there's a whole host of intelligent spirits in there, I don't know.
I would have been frightened if I was in her shoe. Oh, I would have proper shit my pants. Proper shit my pants.
Definitely. Yeah, exactly, Bill. Exactly. So who knows?
Hi, Gavin.
Hi, Gavin.
Hi, Gavin.
But it's an interesting subject. Hi, Jacqueline. But yeah, I mean, we went there, and the guy there was severe poltergeist activity upstairs it was like a loft room, and the guy had one of his friends stay over. He'd had a few of his friends stay over, both boys and girls, and the girl, like a couple of the girls slept on the floor, a couple of the guys slept on the floor. They just sprawled out wherever they could like fall, and one of the girls had a dream in the night that a spirit had came and physically attacked her to the point where he did that unmentionable thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then she woke up in the morning, and she was all marked down there.
Oh, bless her.
And she was scratched and scraped and God knows what. Now, whether that was, I don't know, whether it was a spirit, whether it was
any chance she could have done it to herself.
Bad night. Yeah, exactly. I don't know.
Because you know what? I'm going to quash this now, and people are too scared to broach this subject. So just quickly, while we're talking about just taking it away from our subject for a minute, these women that claim that they are sexually attacked by spirit, I'm going to tell you something, Dan. Women can do strange things to themselves down below and not even touching themselves with their hands. They are capable of what I call clenching. And a lot of that, even if it's voluntary or involuntary, can lead to some women having orgasms. So when you're asleep and they're doing this, maybe they're having a lovely dream, maybe
exactly.
And body they can then start going into the orgasm cycle, as I call it. It could wake them up while in the middle of that, or they're just enjoying a nice dream, or they might think they're having a nightmare, depending on what they're dreaming of. This is going on, and it's just too easy because they're embarrassed or whatever to blame the ghost. So there are reports of women that are attacked while they're sleeping sexually, and I have to question that. I have to seriously question that.
No, I think you have to, because at the end of the day, it's like anybody that goes to sleep. You can have a dream, and in your sleep, you're actually doing something, and then like falling out of bed, you could be falling in your sleep and then hit the floor. Do you know what I mean? So you're actually
I've done that
act, but it doesn't mean that the spirit's pushed you out of bed. It means that you just rolled over. And it's just an unfortunate act, isn't it? You fall out and whatever. But I know, I agree with you.
So anyway, let's get off the sexual theme, because it's not just women and men that can do these things. Let's go back to the theatre.
The theatre.
So the theatre in Drury Lane, we have a very famous theatre, and it is haunted by the gay ghost. And why is he called the gay ghost? It's because he is now free, because he must have been homosexual, bless him. And in those days, they would have gone to prison and worse for being homosexual. And now he's free. He can touch and do anything he wants, and he can get away with it. Does supposedly touch the bottoms of gentlemen that go to the theatre. Have you had anything like that happens to you, Dan?
I was touched by I'm assuming it was a spirit in a fort. And there was a gay guy with me at the time. And I said to him, Dan, because he's called Dan as well, Dan, I've just been touched on the backside by this spirit. And Dan turned around to me and went, lucky bastard.
Well, can I tell you?
No, I got touched by him.
Was it? Oh, it was on the bum.
On the bum, yeah.
Well, I investigated a property that the founder of Barclays Bank used to own, and in this particular property, you could see all the old. They sort of line the staircases with. They were lead lined, and then they'd put leather on it, and they would tack the sides down, and really it was left in its original form. It was in a bit of disrepair, to be honest. But while we were there, we went up in what would have been the gentleman's club that he had upstairs. And I was sitting along a long bench. There was a table, and we were trying to do some table tipping. Now, I sat on the end of the bench. You know as well as me, Dan, I like to be able to run if I need to. And I'm sitting at this bench, and the table's over the top of my legs, and I felt a hand go down in my inner thigh right by my mini moo. And of course I looked at the person next to me, and it was her. She had both her hands above the table. I looked at the person opposite me, and that was a woman that had both her hands above the table. There was nobody else around me that would have been able to have done it, because they would have had to stand right over me. to have put their hands in that position.
Yeah.
And that
Yeah.
made me feel really uncomfortable. So I made an excuse and left the room. They carried on with their session. And it transpires, they had a break. We had a break in between before we moved on to the next bit. So I went down to the room, kitchen, and got a coffee. And one of the girls came down. She had a face was just pure white. She said, I need a coffee quick. She said, I don't smoke, but I'm going to start. And I said, what's the matter? She said, when you left, I moved along. She felt exactly the same as me. So either the owner, the guy that started Barclays Bank, was a dirty perv, or they had a pervy ghost.
Yeah, or they employed one.
But yeah, so
I got stroked on the leg once, but I'd asked for it. I was wearing shorts. It was in Kelvin Hatch bunker, secret bunker, not so secret, but it was there. And I'd asked the spirit of this lady who worked there that she could, like, if you're there, stroke me or touch my leg or knee or what have you. And she did. I could feel the hand and her nails, but it was fine. But that was fine because it was, I'd asked her to do it. I don't know but odd touches on the head and stuff like that, but nothing anywhere where it shouldn't be. Yeah, see? Yeah.
The thing is, though, I mean, you can go in these places, Dan. I mean, I've always said to people, be careful what you ask for. But when you're in these places and you're trying to investigate the history and get that little bit more, because nobody, to this day, they have investigators that go in there, but they do not realise that they're sitting in the home of the founder of Barclays Bank.
Yeah, it's true.
And Barclays Bank is a worldwide thing because they don't want to do the research. They don't want to look into the history, and well, I'd hate for them to find the pervert, but anyway.
But that's the thing, isn't it? There are so many properties and houses and all sorts of various buildings that are, they've belonged to people with lots of money, and you investigate them, and the chances are that they've had famous people visit them or spend time in there or even owned them at a certain point,
Yeah, I had an injury. Yeah. I've had an injury that took me out for 3 months, and I was picked up and thrown by the neck. Fingerprints and everything. Yeah, weren't very nice. But the people, just be careful, because people think that, we go ghost hunting. They'll be rude to the spirits and anger them in the first place. Not all of us do that. Some people do. I've seen it because they've seen a certain person on Ghost Adventures do it. I'm not saying that you have to be respectful to spirit, because sometimes you don't have to be. Personally, like I did a private case that involved paedophilia, and I weren't going to be polite to the spirit that messes around with kids.
Sorry, my eyes are sore. Sorry.
Yeah, straight on it and give them what for, because they deserve it. But and I, as I keep saying to Dad, be careful what you ask for, because if you ask for it and it happens, you've got no room to complain about it then.
No. I'll never ask for anything untoward.
And if they don't know, if they haven't done their research, they don't actually know what they're asking for, because you could have walked into a place that was a barracks full of soldiers, prisoners. Just because it looks like a nice house now, it might not have been when it was first.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, a lot of these houses, the old ones in particular, have many incarnations through the centuries. Yeah. So they could be many different things. I mean, a lot of the stately homes in this country were used as, particularly for the First World War, they were used for convalescing soldiers. So they were used as makeshift hospitals. Yeah. And then in the Second World War, they were used for telecommunications groups and all sorts of different, intelligence agencies. So you don't know. So that's interesting. It is interesting. But a historical building doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get a historical ghost, does it?
No, definitely not. I've done places that I think, this was attached to a castle, and it was a farmhouse, and you think you'd get, the remnants of the castle, that, the knights, soldiers, whoever, you know, associated with that castle. And actually, in actual fact, what we got, it was beautiful. You was there, Dan. Absolutely beautiful, but nothing to do with the castle. And sort of more in recent times, we've got a lady singing, and the song
Oh,
was
that was
beautiful.
beautiful.
Oh, her
That was
song was
beautiful.
amazing.
And completely audible to all and sundry, wasn't it? Everybody could hear that.
Yeah, yeah.
It was tinged with sadness, but a lot of happiness.
What
So
a beautiful
whoever that
voice
person
as well,
was
though.
must have been so happy in that building.
A beautiful, beautiful voice.
Oh, it was the most
And
lovely tune.
they've had apports happen, and the apports were one of them was a piece of jewelry that was found the next morning, a lovely necklace, which I believe that the curator now has. And it was old, not of any value, not made of gold or anything, but very lovely. And other things like it's had a quite a long history, but I had a very strange experience using mobile telephones, which was recorded.
Yes,
there.
you did. Yeah, you did.
So yeah, I'm not even going to go into that because that'd be another showdown. But
I think the best EVP I got was from there.
Yeah.
And I was doing a quiet vigil with Dawn.
Stay safe, Chantel.
Yeah, stay safe, Chantel. Stay safe. And I can't remember what happened, but I was asking a question, and then somebody asked something, and I broke my train of conversation with the spirit, and then I just made an apology because we were getting sort of knocks and taps, and then when I replayed the audio, you could hear "That's all right, darling," which was beautiful. It was lovely, and that was a woman's voice, and that was in the same building where the music had come from. The singing,
yeah.
so whether that was her or I don't know, but she seemed to be a kind spirit, kind person.
Do you know what? Talking of EVPs, some people, not all, I mean, and this is even the more seasoned investigator seems to forget. They forget the building that they're in and what the time period was. So they're not sure when they do EVPs, they're not getting anything, but they're not talking in the language that the spirit would understand. So
No.
by saying, could you tell me what your name is? That you might not like, that's happened to me before. Could you tell me what they used to call you? And then we got the answer. So again, it's asking the questions, but in the right way, if that makes sense.
No, sometimes, it does. It does. Some of the words they may not recognise because they've kind of been updated or what have you. Whereas, you know, like for example, when we did Borley and you asked none and no answer was there, and then I said I was sister, and then it lit up, didn't it?
Yeah.
Because maybe I don't know. Maybe there's a difference between Northern England and a sister. I don't know. Oh,
that's different then, Charles. I mean, if you're being slammed in the back, that's a little bit naughty.
You never know.
Well,
you never know.
Yeah.
But luckily, thank God, I've not come across any of that sort of real aggression. It's always been, I mean, of course, I've been sworn at quite a lot. And
I have. I love this.
You know,
I love it when they swear at you.
Kelly Upton, don't they?
Do you know what? My favourite one. My favourite one. I called out and I asked a question. This was in that place where I got touched in the mini mood. But anyway, and I asked, I can't even remember what. Can you tell me what your name is? What they used to call you? I've gone through all of that. Nothing. And then I left it playing, just recording. Didn't ask a question. And in response, what I got when I stopped it after a few minutes and played it back, I heard URACOCK.
Yeah.
And I just thought, what?
Yeah.
I loved it. I loved it because it was directed at me, and I thought, cheeky, cheeky so and so. But
Yeah, I've been called stuff that I couldn't even spell on here because
no,
I'm
I
not
know you
allowed.
have.
It's awful stuff they've called me, and but it's funny, isn't it?
It
It's
is
quite
funny.
comical to know you give
It
me the
is.
and I've got the with you.
But it's nice to know that spirit can still swear and do these naughty things, and and I wonder if we checked how far back that these spirits went. Did they swear like that back in in the 1800s? I'm sure they did.
I guess they would have, really. I guess they probably would have.
Well, did they use swear words in Henry's Tudor court? I'm sure they had their own swear words of the day.
Definitely.
I'd love to find out what they are.
The insults a lot of the insults were entirely different then as well, weren't they? Like the one that an old English one was, you cad. You don't hear that anymore. You cad.
Yeah.
You don't hear that anymore, and that's not been heard for since the 1930s.
I have heard from the living and from people that have passed over, and it's not used in the way that it's going to sound. Now, I've heard the words "how queer," not meaning you're
but that's different time
homosexual. Again, different time period. How queer would be how unexpected, unusual. So listening to somebody say that, and they're referring to me being queer. Like how queer I looked. So that was quite an interesting one.
And
that was in an old building,
didn't it? It just meant unusual.
That was in an old building, Dan, as well.
See, the things that, like the term gay, that meant something entirely different, didn't it? You know?
But again, like, do paranormal investigators of today actually realise that? Some of them just...
I think they do. And then, of course, you go back to the sort of 13th, 12th century, and everybody here spoke English. Spoke French. Everybody in this country spoke French. It was with splatterings of Anglo-Saxon, where the swear words come from, which were a mixture of French and sort of Anglo-Saxon, Germanic, and that's where our swear words come from. A lot of them, they come from those two cultures.
Do you think it's funny? I'm just going to change the subject just quickly. How people, when they come over here, they want to go and find the ghosts of kings and queens past. You're not always going to see them.
Do you know? I'll be honest with you. It's not the kings and the queens that interest me. It's the social history of the ordinary man and woman. That's what I like to sort of get down with. To me, that's because I can't put myself in the shoes of a king or a queen, but with the ordinary person, I've got a link with them. Do you know what I mean?
I have a link to royal blood, though, Dan.
Oh, you? Yeah, I have as well, but I don't.
But you don't look there. You don't go there.
No, my working class people are my people. Yeah, it'd be great to speak to an answer, but I've not really got that connection. I've not got that. I'm more in I'm born and brought up working class, so it's the ordinary person that I'm in step with. That's the ordinary man in the street, woman in the street, what have you. And they're the people I like to communicate with. I like to get down to sort of grassroots level,
See, I'm quite dark in the way that the torture and we were brutal. The British were horrible to each other with just trying to control the people, putting the fear of God in public executions, that sort of thing. So I love all that, but I also like the ideas behind these people that they were witch or they were heretics, which are two different things.
Yeah, totally different.
And the public displays of absolutely gruesomeness. Now, when people were hung, drawn, and quartered here in England, I find that fascinating. I know. I just find it fascinating.
And then they take the body parts and they ride them up and down the street with horses. And then they take your head and stick it on a perpetrator's gate. It was like, what? just warnings, wasn't it? It's
Well,
early warnings, wasn't it? Don't do this or you'll find yourself here.
But they tarred, they used to tar a lot of the heads before they piked them. And
They did.
one of the famous ones that it happened to was Oliver Cromwell. But they actually, this is a story that not people actually realise, they did that after he was already dead.
Yeah.
So they dug up his body, they hung him and quartered him, tarred his head and stuck it on a pike. Anyway, long story short, this head is now in a famous college up here in Cambridge, in Sydney, Sussex College. So they sort of brought the head home back to Cambridgeshire, if you like. And the head is brought out every year. Now, it did have skin. It was preserved to a certain point. It is now receded and it is literally just bone. But they bring the head out every year and they celebrate Oliver Cromwell for the good that he done for the people. So that's an interesting story. But there are places that are supposedly haunted by Oliver Cromwell, and they're all buildings associated with him. So he's got a bit of a backstory. He's a very interesting person. Love him or hate him, he's supposed to haunt a couple of buildings. And again, he's another one where they never got his portrait correct, because he actually had a face with warts.
Yeah.
As we found out from his death mask. But
yeah, he did. But that's I mean, there's a couple of buildings near you, aren't there, that are reportedly haunted by him. But one of them's his home, isn't it? Or are they both his homes?
One of them is, there's a house he grew up in. Then there's a house that he moved into after he was married with his wife and 10 children.
Right.
Then he's associated with Cambridge University itself, because he was one of the people that actually helped to build it into the prestigious university that it is today. It's known worldwide. It's a bit like America's Yale and Harvard.
It's what the Americans would call an Ivy League college, I guess, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sort of Cambridge and Oxford. So two over here that we've got, and Durham, I think, is good. But yeah.
It's Cambridge and Oxford, isn't it? Because of they do the boat race every year.
Boat racing,
God. And
they produce many things. They produce boat racers or rowers, and they also produce spies. Russian spies.
Russian spies. Oh God.
But yeah, there's lots of little houses in that have got history attached to them that you wouldn't even know. I mean, how many properties have got a real rich history? Maybe some with people that are influential or famous that has fell by the way, you know?
Yeah.
That have been laid forgotten about.
There's a property, it's actually an abbey, and it's not too far from you, I think, Dan, that was built in 666. An unfortunate year. I mean, it's all in ruin now, but apparently that is very, very haunted. And
really?
I think also, I think the devil worshippers and the weirdos still go out there and.
That's not Clock Hill, is it?
No. I'll
tell you. I think you're talking about Cold Christmas.
No, I'll tell you about it when we come off air.
Right, fair enough.
But they still go there and they still practice witchcraft, magic, and I don't know if they're sacrificing, but things still happen at this place even to this day. So again, if you're going out ghost hunting to places like this, you've got to be careful and safety in numbers.
Definitely. Yeah, without doubt, you need to be careful. You know.
But,
again, luckily, I've not run into any strange people when I've been for ghost hunting.
Be careful.
Yeah, I'm interested in that.
Be careful. They don't necessarily go hand in hand necessarily. Just be careful.
It's an intriguing subject, though, isn't it?
Oh yeah, no, definitely.
It's an intriguing subject.
Definitely. So, out of all the places that you haven't investigated and you would like to go, Dan, we've got another 5 minutes. So, let's just ask you this question. Out of all the places you haven't investigated and you would like to go, old or famous ghost, in England, only England, the British Isles, where would you go? Where would you like to go?
St Breville's, I think.
Tell everyone what that is.
St Breville's is now, I think it's like a, isn't it youth hostel now, Viv? But it used to be like was it a castle it was called, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was a big stately home that dates back quite a few hundred years, and it's reputedly haunted by the person that owned it and had it. I think it was given to rather than bought. I think it was given by Queen Elizabeth I to this particular person, and he had it, and then he's purportedly, or he's said to haunt it, and there's lots of poltergeist activity that happens there as well. I think it's got an oubliette and everything, isn't it, Viv?
I think so. I think we should go, Dan.
We
should go, because when you've got bloodline walking into the place, it might stir things up.
Yeah, the man I'm talking about was my great grandfather. So he's a direct. He was Queen Elizabeth's. You hear about Sir Francis Drake, and you hear about the Golden Eye, and you hear about Sir Walter Raleigh, but he was called Robert Winter, and he was actually the admiral of Queen Elizabeth I's fleet, and he was the one who stopped the Spanish Armada around the coast of Scotland when they came to invade, trying to get him that way, and he headed them off. But yeah, I don't really know too much. I know little bits about him, but not tons. But yeah,
the place I would like to investigate, and I know it's never ever going to happen, not in my lifetime anyway, is 10 Downing Street.
That would be interesting, wouldn't it? And that again is purportedly haunted, isn't it?
Yeah, 10 Downing Street. Well, kick Boris out for a start. I'm not going to be political.
It's only by him at the minute.
But it's had so many British prime ministers come in and out of that door, and it's a lovely Georgian-built brick house. I mean, inside there, it's now just offices. It's just rooms with desks now.
It's just a flat above, isn't it, that they live in?
Yeah,
really?
I think there's a kitchen. There's a kitchen area, like a kitchenette and stuff like that. They feed the cat as well, but there's not much to Downing Street. But I would love to get into number 10 and see what ghosts lurk behind that door.
Yeah, I would.
There must be, honestly.
Well, I think getting away from that, I think of going across the pond to the States. I think the White House is haunted, isn't it, by Abraham Lincoln, apparently.
Well, you know what, Dan? The British burnt the White House down initially, and they rebuilt it, and they had to paint it white to cover up all the scorch marks.
Yeah.
So the White House is down to us in the first place, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, exactly. But that'd be. I reckon the White House. If you get in there, that'd be a really, not that you ever would, but that'd be an interesting place.
Could you imagine doing a transatlantic?
Didn't Ronald Reagan, I think, had an experience in there. I think he saw Abraham Lincoln's spirit or something. Something had happened in there with Ronald Reagan.
I think a great experiment to try would be, you go into the White House, I go into 10 Downing Street, we investigate it at exactly the same time, and at a particular time doing one experiment to see if we both get the same results.
Yeah, that'd be good. And of course, I'd like to investigate, I know you would as well, anywhere that Churchill was.
Oh, Churchill, yeah. Yeah,
I think that'd be interesting.
I'd love to do a bit more in Europe, but I'd like to look into the African, going over to the continent of Africa and looking into their religious thoughts of ghosts and doing some ghost hunts out there, like just literally going across the globe. I've been lucky to go to a few countries now, Dan, but Africa really does call to me. But maybe one day, if I win the lottery, I might be able to do that and take you with
what a
me.
thing to do, travel the world investigating. Traveling the world investigating, that'd be amazing, wouldn't it?
Yeah, proper investigations, getting the equipment out and...
That would be fantastic. If you had so much money, you could dedicate your whole time traveling around the world doing investigations.
Well, if anyone's listening that would like to sponsor us, please get in touch. Our emails are down there, if you want to sponsor anything for us. It'd be a great TV show, wouldn't it? Documentary type.
It would. It'd be nice to just do these unusual places, wouldn't it? That nobody's ever done before.
There are so many of them. I think, doing these Japanese, the little cave systems that they built to hide in the jungle areas away from...
Oh, in Vietnam or in Japan?
All over the world. But Japan did it in the Philippines, didn't they?
They did. They kept popping up here and there and everywhere, didn't they? So
maybe getting into a couple of those to investigate. Japan has a lot of tales of ghosts and stuff like that and folklore. But, I'd like to do the unusual places that a traveller wouldn't normally go to, sit in a jungle where there's snakes that could bite you and kill you, but go and do it anyway.
Yeah.
The deserts of Saudi Arabia.
China seems to be quite haunted as well, doesn't it?
It's got the ghosts of bats that spread coronavirus. I don't mean that.
It's
China's very hot, very haunted,
isn't it? Well, yeah. I think everywhere in the world isn't it? Really.
Yeah.
No matter where you go, every country's haunted to some degree.
And these places where people say don't go and visit, I'll be the one that. If you say don't do it, I'll be the one doing it. North Korea, I'd go and do it as.
There you go. Perfect. You're in.
No thanks on the snakes. No. You have to be one of these people that's come on, let's go and do it because nobody else has done. Let's go and open this up like this. Go into Saudi Arabia where, I mean, it's where it all began, isn't it? Africa.
I would be really reluctant to do, not because of culture, but I would be really reluctant to do anywhere.
I know what you're going to say.
Islamic.
Jinn. No, we have to do it, Dan. If we win the lottery and we're doing this, it's got to be done. But we'd have to get.
Those spirits terrify me.
We get the Islamic priest out with us so we can look after us.
Yeah, and it's not because I don't, anything, nothing to do with Islam. It's to do with that particular spirit that puts the fear into me. And I'm not dealing with them. I don't want to deal with them. Thank you very much.
Right, we've done an hour, Dan. So,
nice. Hi,
Nick. Hello, my darling. He's my paranormal son. I have a few, now.
You've got a big paranormal family.
But look at him there. Look at that. That photo.
Very dapper, very smart.
Very handsome guy. Beautiful inside and out. Hi, Donna.
Hi, Donna. We're good, thanks. Hope you're the same. Hope you're doing well.
Let's go back to Nick. Look at that picture. Look at him. He looks like a weatherman a little bit in that picture.
He looks like he looks like an anchor man, doesn't he?
He's on the TV. So, I mean, you got any more buildings, Dan, you want to talk about?
Oh, do you know what? My list of buildings to investigate is endless. I'm at a point now where I want to investigate
everything.
little villages and village cottages.
Village cottages.
Because of the rural history of them, the background and stuff. Because I've done a few over the years and had really good results. Am I you, Gary? thank you, and had good results from them.
Waverley
That would be
Hills.
cool. Waverley Hill Sanatorium. It would, Bill. That would be cool.
Hi,
Hi,
Greg.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's so many buildings out there right across the planet, but that I'd like to do. You know.
Have you noticed though, Dan? People are in too much of a hurry to knock a building down, redevelop it, and put an amazing, I don't know, block of flats, whatever on top of it. I'm saying, and I will advocate, leave the old building there. Just do your internal updates. Just leave the building be. Just leave it be. That's why we have so much more older buildings than you guys in America. And plus the way that you used to, I mean, some of places they build them with wood rather than with stones, I learnt from William. So they run its course, they rot, whatever. But, you know, just if you have an old building, try to preserve it. I know it's not feasible sometimes inside. It would cost too much money to keep it in the way that it was meant to be built. But, you know, if you're going to update the building, keep the shell. Just update inside. Don't be in a hurry to knock everything down.
Sort of redevelop the internal bit rather than the whole structure.
It's called money.
Yeah, it is, Bill.
It's the root of all evil is money. Money and religion sometimes.
Just thought of somewhere I'd love to do, actually. It's one I'd really like to do. I'd like to do the birdcage in Tombstone.
It's funny you say that.
I love to do the birdcage in Tombstone.
You know, I think, I'm sure it's him. I've got a contact for him. The manager there. I think it's there. Leave it with me.
I know the guy that used to run it a couple of years ago. He got shot, didn't he?
Yeah.
Bless him. He got killed, didn't he? Be interesting if he's there, actually. Because he was sort of a guardian. Yeah, exactly, Bill. Yeah, he was a guardian.
Well, yeah. Bobby Mackey's. I think Bobby Mackey's would be
Gateway to Hell, apparently, isn't
it? Or there's a place in, is it in America? It's called Hell itself, the city of Hell, the town of Hell.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we could go to Hell. We could do that. That
sounds cool, doesn't it? That sounds cool. A place called Hell. What's your address? Hell.
Hell. Especially with the door number 666 in it. That would be.
But there's still plenty of places. Well, you'd never get around them in a lifetime, would you, really? But as we're over here, there's loads and loads. When hell freezes
over. I don't even know if it freezes there. I'm gonna have to Google this now, you know. So
yeah, I mean, where else would you like to go, Viv? Is there anywhere in particular you'd like to go?
I want to go to the Christmas Islands.
Oh, the Dakotas. Oh, the Christmas Islands, yeah.
So the Christmas Islands is in Indonesia, but I need to go for need to be there for the last full moon phase of the year to see the crab migrations. So it's nothing to do with paranormal at all.
Just want to go and see the.
Yeah. So the Christmas Islands, I'd love to go to. I'd love to go to Ethiopia for investigating. Now to Ethiopia, on a paranormal level, I want Ethiopia. I'd like to go to Kenya on a paranormal level. I've done India already, but certain parts of the Saudi Arabia and their states. I'd love to go to Jordan. I'd love to go to Israel. I want to go everywhere, Dan. There's not enough time.
Cool, wouldn't it? Go and see Israel would be cool.
There's not enough time to do it all, Dan.
I know.
Israel.
I know. It's. I want to go everywhere.
It freezes.
Right. Oh, there you go then.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ethiopia
yeah.
would be absolutely magic. Paralevel Egypt.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, I lived in Egypt for about 3 years, and I'd seen some very interesting ghosts, believe it or not. And my mother sat, and we both sat together on a bed and watched this particular apparition, full-bodied, walk right through the room. From it came in through one wall and disappeared in through another wall. And what that was a Roman soldier in full headdress, you know, with the old brush thing on and with his sword. And you saw his, you know, I call it the skirt, but it's not a skirt, but he had one of those on, and sandals were seen quite easy. I was 7 years old, and we sat and watched him. He just appeared through a wall and walked straight through another. And my mum sat there and watched him with me, and she refused to sleep in that bedroom afterwards. And it was family home, so she said, "I'm not going in that room." But yeah, I remember that very well because, and how I remember that, it's not because of seeing him, but that was the year that Elvis Presley died.
Oh.
So I was in Egypt when that happened. But yeah, so seeing stuff out there. I mean, people go looking for pharaohs when they're out in Egypt, but it was heavily overrun with the Romans. So people forget that.
Same here, isn't it?
Oh yeah,
Same
Romans
here.
get everywhere, don't they?
The spirits that are seen. Hi, Lois.
Hi, Lois.
Oh, bye, Lois.
Oh, sorry. Hi and bye.
Bye, Lois. Have a good week. Oh, that'd be interesting.
Yeah, catacombs would be good.
There's so many places, aren't there, that are like, you know, I'd like to investigate an old sort of Midwest ghost town. You know, somewhere tucked out in the middle of nowhere, you know, that's just been left to nature.
Nick,
Hi,
we've
Nick.
been talking about you. I bet your ears are burning.
But yeah, there's so many different places in this world that you know, it's time and money, isn't it?
It is.
You know,
that's why I think us
right.
as investigators should make the most of our own areas in which we live. So, you know, where you live in Hertford, we're going to be concentrating there. Up here, where I live in Cambridgeshire, well, I live on a border, so we can go. I live right on a border, so I live on the Cambridgeshire, Norfolk and Peterborough border. And here in Peterborough, we got some very, very good news that they've just discovered and they have now excavated the sea monster. They've dug up a sea monster, a prehistoric sea monster, yeah. So cool. There's talks of trying to keep it in the town where it was found in Rutland, and building a museum and housing it there. So it looked to me like a big crocodile, but they're calling it the sea monster.
Interesting.
So yeah,
interesting.
I know, but it's amazing. It's intact. It looks.
Where was it? In the town, under a house or under a building, or?
I'll have to send you the article. I'll let you read it.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. I think I might have seen something about it on the internet, actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, that'd be interesting. Speak to you about that in a bit, William.
A prehistoric monster.
Yeah.
They're all coming in now. Look, Wayne's here.
Hiya, Wayne. They're all coming in now.
Hello, Mr. Seedon.
How you doing, Wayne? Hope you're all good, buddy. Yeah, Happy New Year to you. Yeah, it looks interesting.
Look at that. Interesting. He looks like he could be a news reporter, couldn't he?
He's like an anchor man, isn't he?
Yeah, in the studio.
Smart, very smart.
Over to you, Wayne. There's been ghost scene in Idaho. Over to you, Wayne, a reporter in the field. Oh God, we're terrible, aren't we?
So yes, I mean, I know we've got a few investigations lined up this year, haven't we? Places that we've done, and some places that we're breaking new ground on, aren't we? Really?
Well, there is. There's going to be. We're not going to be doing the usual places that investigators have done. We're going for the Virgin Territory. So it's going to be a very, very interesting year for us. And we're striking midnight. We have a new member.
We do have a new member called Tony, who's a very experienced investigator and very nice chap. And like us, he's dedicated to the cause, isn't he?
Well, wait till he gets a load of me, Dan. I'll be telling him to F off and all.
He's probably used to it. He's known you for a long while, but he's probably used to it.
But when people swear,
expect nothing less.
When people get scared, though, they react in different ways, and mine is
do. Yeah,
mine is to laugh. Mine is to laugh, then swear. So when I start laughing, that's not because I'm finding it funny, and then when I start swearing, as Dan has found out,
you're really nervous or worried then.
But it still falls in deaf ears. He just laughs at me.
But yeah, we've got some great investigations coming up.
What, Golden, Virginia? I'll smoke that. Oh, Virgins.
Oh.
Virgins, yes. He means virgin places, not virgin girls.
Yeah, no, he's right. Yeah, he's right. There are lots and lots of virgin places.
Yeah.
And we're hoping to get into quite a few this year. So we'll see. We'll see how it pans out.
There's some places that we've looked at that are very exciting. I can't discuss them on here, not yet anyway, but we will do at some point once they've been done and investigated, and we'll be able to discuss them in a little bit more detail with you. But
definitely,
until then, so maybe later in the year, we'll have a show where we'll get Tony on maybe.
Yeah, the three of us. We could review the year, couldn't we? Hopefully, God willing, and hopefully it'll be good. Hopefully, it'll be a good year to us.
So, Dan, for people that don't know, Striking Midnight, where can they find it?
Well, you can find Striking Midnight Paranormal on Facebook. Just put Striking Midnight Paranormal in, and we'll come up. It will come straight up. You can also find it on YouTube. Again, Striking Midnight Paranormal, and it will come straight up. I think we've got 7 videos or 8 videos on there, Viv.
Yeah.
There is stuff that I haven't done that I need to do that needs to go up, and we'll be uploading again pretty soon, very soon, in fact. So it's going to be a constant upload on there, probably once a month with an investigation, possibly even twice a month with an investigation. But we've got to see what happens. But we're dedicated to the cause. We're dedicated to get investigations out there at least once a month.
Yeah.
But at the very least, that is. So we'll see what happens. And
at this rate, we'll be looking at doing stuff for 2023.
I know. We've more or less got the schedule lined up, haven't we? Where we want to go and what we want to do. So once that's lined up, then we can look at booking for 2023 and see how that goes. But there might be some amazing places that we do that we might want to go back to.
Yeah.
But yeah, we need to do with Wayne, don't we? We need to do.
Love to you too, Greg.
Take it easy. Take it easy. Stay safe. Have a good week. Have a great week. Yeah, we want to do in Essex, Witchfinder General, Viv. What's the place called?
The Thorn.
The Thorn. And what's the village called?
Mistley,
which is where the Witchfinder General came from. And plied his trade all around your way as well, didn't he?
He did. He killed a woman from our village here who's remained nameless because records won't show her name. So she must have been a lady from Gentry. But in Ramsey, he killed 3 women, and they've all been named because they're linked to a vicarage and the church there. And story behind that is basically he was having an affair, wanted the wife and the kids gone so he could resume a life with another lady.
Yeah, he's quite a
Oh, Manningtree, that's it,
Manningtree. That's it, Wayne
and
Mistley. So yeah, I mean, I know Wayne's done investigations there, hasn't he? He did an investigation. He did do an investigation there, didn't he, with Mark?
He did it with Mark, yeah. And we're going to have to get there with him again. And
definitely got to do that. We've got to do that this year.
with Mark as well. Oh my God.
Yeah,
it will be funny.
It'll
be funny.
So that'll be good. Yeah, there's just loads of stuff.
So, has anybody got any questions in the chat before we start winding this down? We've been on nearly an hour and a half.
Excuse me.
Anybody got any questions they want to ask us before we go?
Has it gone quiet in the chat there?
It's gone very quiet. The minute
it's gone quiet there.
Yeah. I think that's the way to go.
Yeah,
it's the way to go, I think, as well.
Make sure you keep them close to your chest.
Yes. The Dark Mirror Radio Show popped down
right.
there.
That's That's right. That was you and Mark, wasn't it? Exactly. Yeah, so what Wayne's on about there is when they did Manningtree and Mistley, the Dark Mirror Radio Show. Go over there and have a... When are they on, Viv? When do they? I can't remember when they.
Is it Friday nights? Friday nights, yeah.
Friday nights they're on. Go and have a listen to them. It's great. It's really interesting. Really good. Really good podcast.
We are on.
Are they on Facebook?
Yes.
Facebook.
Yeah. We are going to. Yeah, let's sort it out.
Definitely.
We're going to be on tomorrow night on Simply Spooky. And Dan doesn't know this yet, but I'm pleased to announce that we have. Are you ready? Drum roll.
Oh, is it?
David Oman will be in the house.
Excellent. Excellent.
So if you're not busy, pop on over there tomorrow. You can find us on Facebook, Simply Spooky, at 8:00. And
can I just say, Viv, for those of the people out there that don't know who David Oman is, he owns the Oman House, which is the one that is purportedly haunted by some of the spirits that were involved in the Manson murders, like Sharon Tate and some of the other spirits that were at that party that night. I think his house is adjacent, isn't it? Or right next to the spot where they were murdered. So, yeah, that'll be interesting. There you go. So Wayne says they're live on Friday nights at 9 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. So go over to the Dark Mirror Show at 9 o'clock GMT.
Hi, Karen.
Don't know what that is your end. Hi, Kerry. And Karen, rather. And, go and give them a watch. They're good. It's a good show. They're a good show. They're lovely fellas. Lovely couple of fellas. So that's that is the Oman House. And David,
and you know what? He's such a lovely man. He really is a lovely man. And I know that he's recently announced something on Facebook. So we'll get him on and we'll talk about it. And it'll be interesting to, I hate the word probe, but just to probe him and see what's been happening in his house, run up to Christmas and New Year's, and the projects that are going on this year that he can talk about. So, and I know with David Oman, there's no holds barred. You can ask him anything, but be prepared. Be prepared for your answer. We love him. He's love him.
He's a lovely man. He really is, and he does make me laugh. He's a real character, real personality, and he's great fun to chat with. Because all you got to do is ask him one or two questions. That's your night done then.
Don't mention Zach Bagans.
No, don't mention Zach Bagans to him, though.
You don't like him, does he?
Don't mention that fella to him. But so is there any questions out there, Viv? Was that it? Or
it will be.
It is, Karen. He is very interesting fella. If that's what you're on about, he's a very interesting man.
Yeah, I've got nothing else to add really. Just looking forward to tomorrow night now, and yes, just having a chilled rest of the evening. So that's
No, that's fine, Karen. He's on tomorrow evening at 8 o'clock
GMT
GMT,
or
8 p.m.
UK time.
GMT, and that's on Facebook. It's on Facebook,
Simply
which is
Spooky.
Simply Spooky. So if you go into your Facebook, put Simply Spooky in your search bar, press it, then it'll come up. Will come up.
I've just put it in the chat for Karen.
Oh, perfect. Well done.
Oops. That's when we're on.
There you go.
Right, so are we going to call it a day now then? An evening?
Yeah, can do. I can do.
We'll be back next
I just
week.
want to say they know that it's not on Things Network, don't they? They know that it's on Facebook, not on Things Network tomorrow night.
Yeah.
It's a separate thing.
So next week on Things Network, next Tuesday, we will be talking about haunted inanimate objects.
And how we've upset David Oman.
Yeah. That would be a good one. So yeah, I mean, I hope you can join us next week. So next week is going to be slightly different. We're going to be talking about haunted objects, and by haunted objects,
yeah, that'd be interesting.
We're not talking about the haunted dolls. We're going into a little bit more than just your haunted dolls. So I hope you can join in and join us and find out what we're actually on about. Do you want to give them a little teaser, Dan?
No, you give them a little teaser.
All I'm going to say is Mary Celeste. The Mary Celeste. So with that, I'm going to say good night and thank you all for listening. And I hope to catch you next week. Dan?
Thanks for tuning in, guys. Thanks for listening. Really appreciate it. Lovely to have your company this evening, as it always is. And we'll see you next week. If you can come along and listen, that'd be fantastic. Or tomorrow night, if you can. But if not, or even if you are, have a fantastic week and take care. Stay safe, everybody. Take care. Bye now.